I was going to say, I've got this brand new mic, but apparently I haven't quite mastered the art of putting it all together yet. Hi, wig and topper lovers. It's so nice to see you again. I've got a new fancy schmancy mic rig that I still do not know how to operate, but I figured if I'm gonna experiment with it, I might as well make some content at the same time, so let me know what you think. And if you are a content creator yourself and you have any recommendations for what I could be doing differently with this mic, please let me know. There was a point to me making this video, and I'm just getting distracted because I have a cat and I want to pick you up. Are you going to be okay with that? This is Claudia. Oh, she's so cute. She has impeccable contouring. I know you're probably bored of hearing about my day job, but really quickly I'll tell you a little bit about what I do for a living. I am a director level research analyst, and my specialty is software. So I study digital commerce software. I have to know all this crap is the gist. And, you know, I hear a lot about generative AI. Let's just say I feel very, very bad for young people. I feel for them because they have to not just be competitive, but they have to be the best of the best of the best to justify the price. Americans are expensive to hire. We are expensive to hire. And right now, a lot of businesses are feeling a lot of pain. And of course, I'm speaking very generally, but hear me out here, right? Because I have to speak vaguely. I cannot give you real data that came from my company because we charge for that. But because in general, a lot of the companies with really, really big valuations in the stock market, they had a lot of capital to burn at a time, and they had the ability to take out really great loans at really great interest because interest was like basically zero through most of the pandemic. And so they hired a lot of people, and it became kind of competitive to see how many people they could hire and basically hoard that talent, even if they didn't know what to do with them. And I'm talking like the biggest of the big companies. The ones that you're hearing in the news now that are laying off thousands of people and have been for the past like year and a half. It's because they took on too many people as a strategic way to stifle growth of the competitors in their field. And they hoarded that talent. And then when money became expensive again, they tried to come up with creative ways to get rid of some of those people until it became a flex to gloat about how many people you laid off. That's so callous. I'm sorry, that is so heinous. That is callous. There is no regard for people's lives in those kind of maneuvers. And these tech companies wonder, the ones that do this, wonder why the public doesn't trust them. I mean, that's a pretty good reason right there, because look at what they're doing to their employees. And they're setting the standard for how a lot of companies can treat employees. And then the other thing that's got me kind of concerned right now is a lot of that flip side, bizarro world, carnival glass mirror version of the Gen AI pitch. Generative AI, not to be confused with AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. It does not exist. And so generative AI, like OpenAI's GPT-4 and Anthropic's Claude and Gemini from Google, like these are all, this is Claudia, by the way, I call her Claude sometimes. So she heard her name and now she wants to snuggle more. She's so cute. These things already exist, and they have basically gobbled up every piece of IP on the planet and put them on their models. And soon it's going to become kind of a, you know, the snake that eats its own tail, that sort of thing. An Ouroboros is what that's called. Like, it's already becoming a bit of an Ouroboros. That technology is very, 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 very expensive to build. The computational power required to do generative is insanely resource intensive compared to traditional machine learning, okay? Unless something steps in to stop it, like government regulation or just public outcry or something of that nature, most of the really high-paying, safe tech jobs that people have been told were a good idea to tool up for and reskill for will disappear and will be displaced by AI technology. Even the coding jobs related to AI will eventually become commoditized. Trades aren't going to be a panacea for this problem either, because guess what? Supply and demand. The more people go into the trades, the more that suppresses wages for the professionals in those fields. And what you see in the Rust Belt, in states that used to be hubs of manufacturing before those jobs disappeared, so places like Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, look at those places. Look at some of their former hot spots and how they have eroded and become just complete rusted out urban blight. That is what you can anticipate happening, because that's what happens when entire job categories disappear and that the only thing that takes their place are really crappy service-oriented jobs that have no healthcare benefits, no job security, and don't pay you a living wage. And one thing that you may not know about the jobs reports, by the way, that are being touted by the US federal government is that they don't count how many of those jobs actually pay a living wage. So some of those jobs are actually being held by one person, right? Like if someone has 3 jobs, they're counted as 3 individual jobs, not one person having 3 jobs. So they juice the numbers to always make them look a little bit more favorable than the actual economic conditions would imply. On top of that, generative AI, cryptocurrencies, and all of these new solutions to old problems come with a very large ecological price tag in the form of the consumption of an insane amount of fossil fuels. And no one has solved for that problem. And it's not really high on the agenda. It's just one of those things that I think a lot of companies are hoping to solve later down the line at some yet to be determined point. So let's just keep kicking that can down the road, and our kids and grandkids will figure it out. I mean, I'm sure they will. Magic, they'll figure it out, right? AI will figure it out for them, whatever. The reason why I felt compelled to make this video after all of that nerd speak was that I was sitting at a table. I went out for stir fry. And while I was waiting for my food, there was a table directly next to me, and these were older folks, so I don't know if maybe the guy just had a hearing problem, because sometimes that happens. People lose their hearing and they yell, and they don't realize that they're yelling. But this guy was yelling a lot. And he was basically, and I was by myself at the time, and he was yelling about the fact that, kids don't know what's the matter with kids today, or whatever that song is. I mean, he was so boomer. He was boomering very hard. As in, he was just gloating about how he was able to retire at 58, and that the reason that he did that is because he was a super virtuous person who scrimped and saved every single penny and was able to retire early. And that's great, right? Had he just left it at that, I'd be like, you go. That's awesome. Like, good for you, guy. Like, no hate. That's an awesome accomplishment, right? But no. Because a lot of people just can't leave well enough alone. They can't just say, I did this thing. They've always got to say, I did this thing in comparison to this other person or this other group. Right? It's like they have to put that much more distance to put themselves on that much higher of a pedestal, which is gratuitous. And this guy was so tacky about it. He had to have been, I'd say probably like edging on 70, right? Or he was just like a chain smoker, but he didn't smell like it, because usually I can smell those people a mile away. Literally. And, but he was going on to say that, young people are just really dumb with money, that because they go to Starbucks, they deserve to be poor, because that's poor person thinking. And, it was just so holier than thou. And I didn't want to start a scene, so I had to walk over to the waitress. And it wasn't subtle, but I wasn't trying to be a bitch. I just didn't want to listen to that the whole time. I was trying to eat my delicious stir fry, which, by the way, I probably only ate about 8 bites of total because my sleeve is still sleeving. I wanted to eat those 8 bites in peace. Thank you very much. I don't get that many of them. I really want to savor them while I can. And I just wanted to state for the record, I feel really bad for young people, like people younger than me. I'm middle-aged. I am like the oldest of millennials. And I feel very bad for people coming up like this, because I thought I had it hard growing up in the Rust Belt, but everything's becoming the Rust Belt now. I feel very bad for them, because people like that guy have no idea how bad you have it. But I see it because I study the economy as part of my job, and because I lived it, right? Like I'm saying, everybody who's grown up in the Rust Belt since maybe 1979 can probably identify with some of what you're going through. They told us to go to college and to take out a lot of student loans, and you don't need to cry me a river because I'm doing okay. But I do feel bad for people who are coming up behind me because the cost of college has gone up so much. And grad school is a scam in a lot of cases. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but I was on academic affairs. I was in student life. They're not bringing in the big Ferris wheel because they want to reward you for your academic excellence. They're doing it so you tell your friends how cool the school is so they can get their enrollment numbers up and justify building a new building. I'm sorry, but it's true. But I do think that academia is very bloated and that it's what jobs are going to be there for those kids to justify that price. I honestly think that the federal government should cap how much these colleges can charge for tuition and still accept federal loan money. Like, they need to put caps on it. Like, we're not going to give you money if you raise your tuition above X amount, and X amount has to be something where whatever the average income is, according to like maybe Bureau of Labor Statistics data, right? Take the average in there, or Glassdoor or whatever. Just find a source of truth and then find the middle. And then, if that student can't make that middle income within the loan repayment time, then that should be factored into how much they can charge for the tuition. Like, it has to be worth the investment. Because it was fun back in the days when college was inexpensive. You could justify a liberal arts education because it signaled that you were a well-rounded person that was learning a lot of different disciplines outside of the one that was your primary interest. That's cool. But it's commoditized. It's the new high school diploma. It's the minimum for a lot of jobs, even when it shouldn't be. And with ghost jobs, I don't know if you know about ghost jobs, but ghost jobs are basically fake job listings that a lot of companies will put up on Indeed and ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn. And they will do that specifically because, for one, it makes them look more attractive to potential investors if they look like they're thriving and hiring. They also want to collect your data. They would love your data. And this is a really great way to voluntold people to give you data. So if you are someone who loves someone in a younger age bracket that is going through this, or you are that person, please know that we don't all judge you, and that I actively have just spent several minutes advocating for the fact that no one should judge you based on your struggle. Because as long as you are still doing the work, it's not like the world's going to give you a participation trophy, as those same critics would probably rub in your face. But you will know, and the people around you will know, that you're not just sitting there and taking it, that you are tougher than that. That commands respect. And it's something where if you do fall in hard times, people are more likely to want to help you if it looks like you're actively trying to help yourself. Because then they'll know when your day comes, like when you can, you'll help them out too. That's how you build community, right? Community has trust. Community helps each other, like in a meaningful, real way. Because to me, real means it makes a difference in your world. Whether that brings you enjoyment, or it's something that teaches you something, or it's that real connection. I mean, it changes your world a little bit. And so I think that if you hear someone, boomer or otherwise, saying really nasty things to people who aren't able to retire at the age of 58, and it seems like they're doing it in a self-congratulatory manner, please tell them kindly to shut the because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. Starbucks stock is currently struggling because people can't afford the coffee. And even young people are rational enough to prioritize rent over buying a Frappuccino. It is insulting. It is very insulting to assume that young people are automatically dumber than you.
editor Heather here. I wanted to let you know that, even if this doesn't even necessarily have to be a young person thing, like this could also be interpreted as a poor person thing, as in this guy could have been, in his own way, basically besmirching the intelligence of everyone who couldn't retire at a young age, period, right? Which could mean that, if you're struggling financially, period, he was basically being a not very nice gentleman towards all of y'all. And so I want to say that for the record too, that, just because someone is poor or that they're struggling financially for whatever the reason, it does not mean they're automatically stupid. And I hate that narrative. I hate the narrative that the poor deserve to be poor because they're stupid or they made bad choices. Oh, give me a break. Rich people make dumb decisions all the time. It's just their money buffers them from any of the fallout. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay, you can tell this was a spicy one for me. Back to the regular video.
And I'll end with this. Human beings, in general, are smart. And intelligence takes on more than one form. I mean, I'm kind of a brainiac in my own way, but I can't fix the engine on a car. I have to get other people involved with some of these things because I will just hurt myself and destroy whatever it is I'm trying to physically fix. I'm not that person, unless it's computers. In an uncanny way, I'm very good at working with motherboards and stuff. For real, because I was in IT forever. But I genuinely am all thumbs when it comes to like carpentry or, oh, I'm not doing my electrical work. No, never. So I'm not Captain DIY. Could never be. That's my mom, not me. And thank goodness my mom's there. Hi, Mom. And that the old parable about walking a mile in somebody else's shoes really matters. It still matters now. And while it may not be a recession on paper, primarily because of what are arguably juiced labor statistics in the lead up to the election. But you know what? I got a cat on my lap. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.